Welcome, virtual audience. Happy Thursday. It's the happy half hour, a little talk show with interesting, inspiring people in the business of play. Today is our first international guest, a legacy toy industry professional who's pretty cool himself, is a friend of mine. His name is also his brand, which I think is going to make for an interesting conversation. Steve, tell us where you're from.
Hey, buddy. Yeah, so I'm Steve Levan. So I'm from Little Levan. My father started the company. We're down here in the UK. Me and Steve, we've known each other, what now, a couple of years, but it's been a fun little roller coaster getting to know the Americas.
Can you, give us the elevator pitch on the toy van. Who are you? You know, what kind of products do you make? We obviously can see some amazing, beautiful products behind you. I'm sure there's some of your top sellers, but give us a little insight.
Sure. Okay, so Le Toy Van is a wooden toy company. First and foremost, we specialize in traditional play-inspiring wooden toys. So we design all of them here in the UK. We design them all in-house, so they're all exclusive to our brand. The company was started 25 years ago. So my father started with the Doll's House designs, of which we now have 13 different designs and all shapes, sizes, price points. But over the years, we've expanded into other traditional wooden toys. So as you can see there, you've got the role play, imitation play, you've got theatre, which is new to us this year. But it goes further, from train sets to wooden garages. If you think wooden toys, we'd like you to think Le Toy Van. Over here in Europe, obviously we're a little bit more known. We've got better notoriety with the consumer. But it's growing. I mean, the States for us is a very new market.
Well, let's break that down a little bit. One, I'm very curious in your perspective from an established, very prestigious brand in Europe and the UK specifically. What are the challenges that you were expecting in the US market? Like, I want to understand. My hypothesis rather is that play is universal, yet retail is very different to the markets. What are the differences in the UK that the US, can learn from, or vice versa?
I'm sure we can both learn from each other. I mean, we're so similar in taste, in behaviors. Obviously there's more similarities than there are differences. I think that's the first point to make. But yeah, obviously once you get into the more nitty gritty, there are some nuanced differences. Over the last few months, we've been looking up a lot of the American retailers we'd like to work with. And yeah, very different selections, very different brands operating in the territory. A lot of brands that would be distributed over here are obviously sold by the master brand in America and vice versa. And the terms, the promotions, is a very different way of operating day to day, but the fundamentals are very similar.
Stephen, how much do you attribute to like the flow of consumerism? Like what I mean by that is in London, when you're going home on the train and you're walking, past the store, right? The tube, I'm sorry. When you're mind the gap, when there seems to be much more of an opportunity to shop versus in America, maybe when we have to drive to a store, or maybe why e-commerce has become, is there anything else that is happening in the UK that, that I think that could be adopted here?
Touch on those 2 points. You're right. We don't have parking here on our high street. We have no public parking. So you have to park at least 100 yards away from any meters, apologies, from any shop. And yeah, it's not as convenient when I've been visiting our customers around the States, where you park in the bay parking right in front. You might have a large Doll's House to put in the back of your trunk. And yeah, it's different. So as a consequence, online shopping is perhaps a little bit more developed here. The UK more so than Europe in general. But there's loads of ways that our customers kind of work around that. You know, they
Yeah.
offer drop and collect, will help you build your products, curbside selling, like you guys have been doing more
Curbside.
recently.
What do you guys call it? Something in pickup?
Click and go.
Click and go. Click and go. I saw the Entertainer doing that, and I thought that was a cool little term. Yeah.
So quite a few retailers. I mean, there was one called Argos many years ago. They had a whole catalogue. A lot of children would sit there, you know, circling the items that they'd want. And the parents would buy them for a mail order catalogue, you know, an order form. They'd send it by post with a check.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that concept's been around in the UK for quite a while, but over the last 5 years been picked up. I think Selfridges, which is one of our largest department stores in London, they designated one of 6 floors to click and collect, just to show how important it's become over the last years. But you're right, as people get on the tube, there's loads of opportunities to shop. So I guess that passing trade, the impulse buys, perhaps, you know, with all of our museums, with all the different tourist destinations, Tower of London and such, we capitalize obviously on a high footfall.
I'll ask you a bonus question as we transition into something I want to compliment you on, and that's your social media following and your commitment to content. But I'm gonna put you on the spot. If you were gonna tell a US retailer, one UK retailer to follow on social media, who would they be?
Oh wow, just one.
Yeah. Who does it the best?
Le Toy Van.
The Toy Van does do it. We'll talk about that. We'll come back to it because I don't want to get you in trouble. But
there's a lot really
doing
amazing.
It great. Yeah.
You know, I'd always look at who's going to be most relevant to your target audience. So we have bloggers around the world: Canada, US, UK, Australia. But if there's a local blogger who has more influence to parents in your specific segment, then that's who I would be speaking to. So there's no one magic influencer who rules them all, so to speak. We're releasing actually a book. We're calling it a look book. So you'll have, I can't remember how many pages the designers have decided to go with, but it's all of our most influential Instagrammers over the last 12 months. So obviously they're always evolving. It's always changing. Who was popular last year isn't as popular this year, and perhaps the products or trends that person was exploring or that blog was exploring, obviously as their life progresses, the themes which they're exploring also change. So someone who was reviewing wooden toys last year is now reviewing preschool material or something
electronics
else.
Right.
Yeah.
Sure.
So sorry, I can't give you a perfect.
That might have been a better answer. All right, time to shine, Steve. How many followers do you guys have on Instagram?
Gosh, last look, I think we're about 110,000. Yeah, I mean, Instagram's obviously our platform. Our product is really beautiful, really aesthetic. Let me get out of the way of our brand new puppet theatre, so you can see the gold detailing on it.
Gorgeous.
So I think when you're going through all of the lifestyle images and you see the puppet theatre in situation in the child's bedroom, maybe with a child, obviously it just brings to life the product. Our products don't have any batteries. They don't have any, bells and whistles, if you will, to draw the kids' attention. It's imaginative play.
But you guys take such care. Can you grab that camera and just bring it a little closer to the screen, or the medical bag, or do you have the card reader? Is that close?
I do not, but I can grab it.
You can't touch this, guys, but this product has so much detail to it. Every little piece of it is thought about. Look at this thing.
It's crazy when you keep adding
the fabric inside, everything. And it has a magnetic clasp that closes it.
Double materials. the thing I love about this one, right, is on the packaging, we've included some cutout tickets so the kids can keep playing, even though, you know, normally what would go in the trash. Just adds that little bit of extra play value. So you've got the reaction test, blood pressure. Obviously, when kids see this for the first time, it might be in the hospital, one of the first things you do, blood pressure. So the more recognizable it is to the child, the more likely they are to play with it. So that's why we spend so much attention to detail, if you will. Just because the kids needs to have something to engage with. You know, when we're competing against electronics, you know, the iPads and all the rest of it, you need something that really engages the child. So this one has a kaleidoscope that moves at the front. So cool. On this side, it has the gear set. So it's all about action reaction. Now you might say the kids might not recognize that, but I can promise you the first thing they do, put it up to their eye because of charades. You know, it's very much that very kind of, it's got a little push button as well, so you can start filming.
Yeah. So your future Spielberg, who's, you know, currently spending all their time on, or will be spending all their time on TikTok.
Yes.
I also want to talk about color. So when I saw that blue kitchen in Nuremberg the first time, I was like, wow, you're not dumbing down style. You are listening to the fashion and home decor industries and applying those insights and creating something for modern mom's aesthetic.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to want to keep it. I mean, you see a lot of these plastic toys which are quite voluminous. They can take up a lot of room in the play area or wherever you decide to put it. So if you're going to take up, you know, 1/2 meter of space, you want it to look good. And, you know, when friends or family come around, you know, they comment on it. So I think, you know, people are trying to declutter their houses at the moment. So toys are definitely one of those things which are, you know, definitely being more selective or curated, so to speak, to match that Instagram bedroom.
Absolutely. We have to win at parenting, right? Okay. How about this question? Because I didn't preface this one either for you. But if you were not in the toy industry, what would Stephen Levan be doing right now?
Working in a toy shop. I have no idea, Steve. I was born and bred in this industry. My father made me a toy castle when I was 3. Me and my brother would battle across the hallways. Yeah, we're in the juices of the company. Yeah, we enjoy it so much. I think all of the staff do. Everyone who gets involved in the business just gets that energy. Our tagline is passionate about play. If you're not passionate, you're in the wrong job, right?
Yeah. No, I think it shows, my friend. Well, you make most of your products out of wood. There is an incredible amount of focus or a lens on sustainability. And I think you have one of the most interesting initiatives that I think sometimes you're a little too humble about. If it's okay with you, would you mind sharing what you are doing from a sustainability perspective?
Sure. I mean, there's some things which we do, which I'm sure have a limited impact. I think the biggest change for me is on a product level. So components which have traditionally been plastic, although the volume of the product is wood, there may have been a little component in plastic, so we've removed that. A good example is our Noah's Ark. It had 4 little plastic pegs on the top. We've replaced them with wooden ones. That's 4 components of plastic from, you know, 100,000 units every single year. That's 400,000 components of plastic from just one of our SKUs. So if we extrapolate that to all 200 of them, obviously that's quite a significant reduction in plastic. As well as that, I would argue perhaps even more dramatic of impact was the removal of plastic, single-use plastic from our products. Packaging, it's easier as a manufacturer, if I'm quite frank, with setup costs and you know, the convenience of it to go with plastic. It presents the product well. You can obviously see through the plastic to present the product. So we, like others, fell into that trap. So it's been a huge project for us. Our ambition was by the start of 2021 to have removed it all. And I'm really glad to say we're making fantastic progress on doing that. So where there may have been an acetate tray, we've replaced that with a biodegradable cardboard. Where there may have been a perspex sheet protecting the product, we've removed it. So that the consumer can actually touch and feel the product for themselves. The polystyrene inside the packaging, which we all know is one of the worst offenders, has been again replaced with just a simple bit of cardboard. Now, it is more labour for us to assemble and such, but that's not the end goal. It's not just about, you know, profit, bottom line, and all the rest of it. So no, us as a business we have a little bit more overarching goals.
Very cool.
Two projects. I mean,
yeah, that is. I think you touched on the design of sustainability, which is, you know, which is something more people need to be thinking about, like reduction in something that already works, not just creating something that's supposedly less green. You know, but then you have another project that's happening in the Pacific Northwest, if I'm not mistaken. Do you mind telling us about that?
I think you've got, like you said, you've got reduction and then you've got offsetting. And I think a lot of people, airlines in particular, they love to talk about offsetting. Well, you're still burning fossil fuels. So it doesn't matter how many trees you replant, you're still burning the fuel. So obviously, to run a commercial entity, we've still got to move freight. We've got to move products. There is an inevitable carbon footprint of this business. So that's where offsetting comes into it. So plantations we work with, I think that the project you're referring to is our project in partnership with One Tree Planted, who is a Canadian firm who have a footprint very much in the North America, but also in Europe, Southeast Asia. Millions and millions of trees planted by volunteers every single year. So we're a proud supporter of that. And yeah, we fund numerous more local incentives just to kind of to teach, not just to actually offset, and hopefully teach the next generation. You know, I think highlighting to, you know, our target market, which is the next generation, you know, the impact that all of these plastics and such can have in the generations to come. That's what's going to really happen. If you look over the last 100 years, that's when all this plastic's been created. Polyethylene didn't even exist before that. And now we're talking about, you know, X million particles for every meter at the bottom of the ocean. That's happened in 100 years. So we can reverse that. And it's all about changing consumer behaviors one little bit at a time. And there's a lot of companies who blame the consumer. You know, oh, you guys, you can add your offset at your checkout, or you can do all of this. And of course, we do that as well, but it's not the solution. It's just a short-term fix. So yeah, I could go on for hours, Steve, honestly.
No, it's super important. We as an industry, you know, have been talking about it for a long time, and there's no easy or even correct solution. It's just, I think we all agree we have to all do something. And if me as a sales rep, if my platform allows me to tell a story of sustainability, then I feel like I'm doing at least some of my part, right? If I pitch it to a retailer, or talk about a licensor, or create content like this about it, it's because it's super important. And thank you for doing your part, man.
Well, I'd say, you know, just as one takeaway for anyone who may be watching this is, my rule on a personal side, because obviously what commercial and personal is, if you're going to buy something, would it decompost in your garden? Would you want it sitting there in 10 years time once you've stopped using it? And if it can't decompose, well then don't buy it, because it's only going to sit in someone else's garden, landfill. So yeah, just you know, try and Try and buy products that can biodegrade. So it's all fine and well than being sustainably and ethically made, but it's more important that it's also biodegradable.
Okay. Very nice, man. I'm going to share, if it's okay with the audience, that you were a pilot.
Yeah.
What have you learned from being a pilot that, you can take away into business or into the toy industry?
Well, I think it's not just from flying, but I did an MBA, and one of the things I took away from that was scenario planning. You may be driving down, just to simplify, driving down the motorway, the car in front of you slams on its brakes. If you react, you're probably just going to go into the back of the bumper, right? If before the event happened, you were thinking, right, scenario 1, I move to the left. Scenario 2, I move to the right. When the event eventually happens, your brain's going to pick one of those 2 scenarios automatically, and you'll survive. So in business, who knew COVID or Brexit, or you name any of the threats that might be, on our doorstep. But if you've planned well enough and you have provisions, and I like to think that any challenge is possible to overcome.
Amazing. Well, that was wonderful. I think that puts us at almost our happy half-hour timeline. I'd like to say thank you to Steve Levan. I always want to call you Steve Latoyvan.
I put it on my signatures.
Yeah. It's so appropriate for you, man. You have an incredible passion for this industry. Again, thank you for making the long journey from London via the interweb tubes. I don't know what it is, but to finish the show, my friend, we're ending it on a segment called the creation of positive energy. It is an opportunity for you in the last 30 seconds to thank, to shout out, to tell somebody that their mentorship helped you, to tell somebody who you're mentoring to hang in there. 30 seconds. The floor is yours.
Okay. So I obviously want to thank 1,000 different people, but I also wanted to just read you guys a little poem that my colleague Kate wrote for us. So it's called Rainbows by my colleague Kate Sargent. So apologies for the dictation, it might not be as smooth as she wrote it. We're missing you all here at Latoyvan, but we're keeping our spirits as high as we can. It's a strange old world thanks to COVID-19, when meeting up with friends is still but a dream. We thank our key workers for all that you do, cheering on Thursdays to show gratitude. We've seen rainbows in windows and kindness galore, starting to realize we should have appreciated more. There's been laughing and bonding, puzzles and bikes, kite flying, den building, TikTok outtakes.
Yeah.
Thanks to technology, we can chat by all means, catch up in quizzes by Facebook, Zoom, and Teams.
Yeah.
Though not in the same boat, we're in the same storm, which is helping to make communities reform.
Yeah.
It's a time where the world has just had to pause. Nature is happy, wildlife is thriving, cleans shores. Take one day at a time, stay safe, smile. We'll be back together in just a short while. Take advantage of this time however you can, sending positive vibes to our clients, customers, and fans.
Yes! Kate Latoyvan, London in the house. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. Latoyvan on Instagram. It's one of the best follows. See ya. Bye.